Hello, my name is Thomas Lynch, but you can call me Tomas. I'm an international environmental policy student at Middlebury Institute of International Studies with a specialization in natural resource management and protection. And today I'd like to talk to you about Hempowered, a company that dreams of saving the world, or at least our forests. It's easy to think these roles grow on trees, but the fact of the matter is that 7 NHL rinks of Canadian boreal forest are deforested every minute, and we're flushing most of it away. US toilet paper demand is driving the deforestation of the Canadian boreal forest, one of North America's last intact old growth forests. The Canadian boreal alone contains 12% of the world's carbon stores. Clear cutting in the boreal releases on average 26 million tons of carbon dioxide a year. Also, it is home to species that can be found nowhere else on the planet, and the nesting grounds of millions of migratory birds. And yet we mindlessly destroyed this natural wonder for a single-use product that we literally flushed down the drain. What can we do to save the boreal? We at Hempowered believe we're already growing the solution: hemp. 1 acre of hemp produces the same amount of pulp as 4 acres of trees and can be harvested in 20 minutes compared to 20 years for trees. Hemp requires little to no pesticide, herbicide, or fungicide to grow. And growing hemp is less energy and water intensive and revitalizes the farmland. Hemp paper biodegrades extremely quickly and requires less water than traditional toilet paper. So the CBD industry is booming in the US. In 2020, there were 465,000 plus licensed acres of hemp production. These growers are only interested in the flowers. Some growers use their stalks as mulch, but most pay for disposal. We want to buy stalks from the growers in the area and use them to create hemp-based toilet paper. Consumers want sustainable paper fiber alternatives, and as the sustainable market share grows, the toilet paper behemoths will take notice and start to cut their use of virgin pulp. We will be a subscription-based toilet paper mailing service. Think Dollar Shave Club, but for toilet paper. We'll charge $1.10 per roll to stay cost competitive. Most of other toilet paper mailing services charge about $1.05 a roll. There will be a shipping fee included in all purchases, and our product will come packaged in sustainably sourced cardboard, and there will be no plastic used in our packaging at all. I don't know about you, but I'm always that happy when I get some toilet paper. So obviously, our biggest competitors would be the industry giants like Charmin and AngelSoft. In the niche market that is sustainable toilet paper, our biggest competitor would be whogivesacrap.org. They're a mailing service based out of Australia that sells 100% recycled paper rolls or bamboo rolls. To date, they have earned over $10 million in profits. There are other toilet paper mailing services as well as big brands like Seventh Generation, all offering bamboo and 100% recycled rolls. Now, I just want to make it clear, they're not recycling actual toilet paper. They're taking paper that's been used somewhere else, like printing paper or paper that was left on the cutting room floor. So recycled paper is problematic because it still requires trees to be harvested in the first place. It's a rather chemically intensive production process. It requires bleaching, and it's just not as soft. And bamboo has its own sustainability issues. Many bamboo plantations are grown in recently deforested areas, and FSC certification still has a long way to go before being truly sustainable. Right now, it's more of a floor than a ceiling. So what we offer to our customers is sustainably sourced, environmentally cleaner, antibacterial toilet paper that helps support American businesses. What differentiates our business model from others is how we source our pulp. By using an agricultural residue, we save costs since we're not growing the hemp ourselves, while also supporting local businesses by providing an additional revenue stream where there used to be a cost. And we decrease our environmental footprint by not expending any extra land. Hemp pulping is less chemically intensive than wood, and plus the hemp paper is naturally antibacterial, giving you a cleaner clean with every wipe. The hemp will be grown no matter what. We need to seize this opportunity and make the most with what we are given. Unfortunately, this business comes with high startup costs. Our biggest expense is obtaining equipment. We hope to partner. We hope to partner with a major grower and build our mill on their land, cutting down on rent costs as well as lowering our stock transportation costs. We estimate needing 3,000 square feet for our mill, and will require hemp processing license. Currently, a lack of a licensing prevents us from making an MVP. Due to the logistical difficulty of transporting hemp stalks, we can only use stalks in a 100-mile radius. So the market for toilet paper is worth $13.5 billion in the US and is expected to grow around 2.3% annually. The market for writing paper and printing paper is shrinking, but the tissue paper market is growing to fill that gap. And while this is dominated by the big brands like Charmin and Angelsoft, the sustainable toilet paper market is growing. And the growth was so large that Target even decided to join in with their own sustainable brand, Evergreen. And paper giant Georgia Pacific, makers of Quilted Northern, partnered with a Canadian hemp fiber company just last year. More and more people are asking themselves what they can do to reduce their environmental impacts. And one of the best places to start is in the bathroom. Like our competitors, we will use social media and sustainability blogs to reach the environmentally conscious through targeted advertisements. Our narrative will focus on sustainability, resource maximization, and reducing environmentally destructive practices. We estimate annual advertisement costs starting at $6,000 a year. And we'll also offer a referral discount system to help build our customer base. So as of right now, I'm the only team member of Hempowered, but we'd also like to add a marketing director, an IT director, and a financial manager as full-time staff, as well as form key partnerships with growers. Our biggest assumption is that we'll be producing 10,000 rolls a month. This would require 7 tons of stalks monthly. At this rate, our machines are not running at full capacity. Further research needs to be conducted to learn the harvest capacity from Monterey growers. And right now we don't turn a profit, but at $20,000 rolls sold a month, we would earn $13,500 in our first year. And by the end of year 3, $20,500. So our highest cost per roll produced are labor and utilities. And for the math, about 10,000 rolls a month is around 450 124 packs a month.
3-minute warning.
Okay, so far we have not raised any money. We're hoping to raise $300,000 in this round so that we can procure hemp processing and paper making equipment and establish key partnerships with growers, hire graphic designers to design our logos and packaging, as well as get our website up and running, as well as get some licensing. Since we are limited by a 100-mile geographic radius, it would be best to build our mill in an area with high CBD acreage. Our paper making machinery is for large-scale industrial paper making. We imagine ourselves as cottage scale microprocessor. Ideally, we would buy smaller scale machinery, reducing our startup costs and allowing us to open up multiple mills throughout the country in areas with high CBD hemp production. So if we want to reduce the impacts of climate change, then we need to provide consumers with viable alternatives. Now is the time to take advantage of the hemp boom and start realizing the full potential of hemp. Hempowered is a step in that direction. Before I leave, I'd like to ask a simple question. Do you want to flush away our environment, or do you want to do something about it? Thank you, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Thomas.
So we can start asking questions. Okay.
Go right ahead, Dave.
Yep. So curious why the 100-mile limit? What is it about moving the hemp that limits you to 100 miles or something?
Yeah, so as I understand it, it's sort of that the hemp stalks are so dense that to move them at weight over 100 miles, you'd require a lot of the transportation costs are just really high. Like you can't really fit it all on one truck. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And so is there, I mean, I realize there's work to do here, but to figure out how do you maximize your equipment versus the available hemp within that 100-mile, I mean, if you're going to end up building multiple factories as the business grows, then there's got to be an optimization of that equipment sort of footprint.
Yeah.
Given, is that all part of the thing?
Yeah, so I think that would probably have to go into some R&D costs. Right now, I was sort of looking at equipment that you could get sort of off of Alibaba as sort of like a price kind of like, you know, to get a general idea. And so they're sort of selling like high end, like really like for a giant industrial paper mill that's going to be producing, you know, 1 million rolls a month or something. So ideally, we could probably try to get the equipment specifically made to be a little bit lower in its production. So it's a little bit cheaper, and that way we can reduce our energy costs as well. And then we also want to look into, you know, getting maybe some solar and gray water recycling built on the mill as well to sort of help reduce our utility costs in that aspect too.
Okay, thanks.
I've got a couple of questions there too, Thomas. First of all, you talked about licenses. In addition to just, you know, stock business licenses, that type of thing, are there any special licenses you're going to have to obtain, and how easy is it to do that? Yeah,
so we would at least require one license. So in California, cannabis and hemp are sort of classified under the same regulatory licensing, and you would require a hemp processing license.
Okay.
So to be able to buy it and be able to sell products that you process.
Got it.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, finish, go ahead.
Oh, okay, and then, yeah, so that would be at least one license, and then that usually costs around, the estimates for like a general cannabis startup tend to be around like $10,000. So I use that as an estimate, and then it tends to be about at least $1,000 a year to renew your licensing.
Okay, any cash flow issues right now, or is the regulatory environment such that you can finance this business fairly easily?
I think right now, as long as we haven't started like making anything, then we don't have any cash flow issues. Getting a license would definitely be one of our first steps.
Okay.
And I think,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was going to say, and I think that would be what's really nice about forming a partnership with a growing hemp grower, is because then I think they would be able to, you know, give us some insights and sort of whatnots in the licensing process.
Okay, just one more question, and that's it. By chance, do you, you know, is there any way to reduce the operational startup costs by finding equipment that's maybe more, you know, that serves a middle market or lower market rather than high-end market for production of toilet paper? Have you looked at that at all? Is there any way to modify that cost structure?
Yeah, I was definitely looking into it. You know, from like just sort of like basic Google searches and whatnot, it seems that it's sort of hard to. I definitely have to talk to some companies. I know that there are some in Europe that might be offering a little bit more different, you know, range of machinery, and hopefully it would be a little bit cheaper. But I just wasn't making any, and I haven't spoken to any people in that side of the market yet. I wanted to get a little traction first.
Thank you.
So one last question. At the very end of your summary, and you made a mention of this a couple of times, talked about antibacterial nature of hemp kind of naturally. That's kind of what it is. Probably more importantly is comfort, softer. One of the things about recycled toilet paper is it sucks. And that's why people go and buy Charmin and stuff like that. Is this truly, you know, do you believe it is softer? And if so, that is I think that's a major selling point.
So it should be softer, because what really determines the softness is the length of the fibers, right? So there is a slight issue here in that, like, what we're doing is we're processing, taking from growers, so we're just trying to reduce that waste stream. CBD plants tend to grow shorter, but like with more stems,
right,
than industrial plants, which are longer. So it will be a little bit shorter, the fibers, but they're not really going to be broken down as much as they would be for for recycled paper. So it should be softer than recycled paper, at least. I don't know if it's reaching like the full softness of hemp, but it should be at least softer than recycled paper and equivalently on par with like wood paper.
Because I think that's the big gripe if there
Yeah.
is one about recycled toilet paper.
Oh, I totally agree with you. All right, thank you all. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thanks, Thomas.
It's a very
Thank
pleasure.
you, Tom. Thank you for joining.
All right, so good morning, everyone. We are Ironwood Makerspace, a workshop where community meets creativity. My name is Derek Tom, and I am joined by the rest of our founding team, Bridget Cotton and Elsa Frade. We are all currently business students from CSU Monterey Bay with very different backgrounds who have come together virtually to invite you into Ironwood Makerspace. So let me tell you more about the team. Bridget is a hardworking mother of 4 who has 2 jobs along with being an entrepreneurship student. She specializes in our logistics and project management. And then we have Elsa. She is an international business student, joining us all the way from Spain, and gives a different perspective to Ironwood, providing insight into branding and design. And I am an entrepreneurship student with a background in culinary management and architectural design, from which the concept of Ironwood was initially inspired by my need for a space and the tools to make my own projects. What started as a semester-long project for us evolved into a business focused on providing a space for collaboration and creativity. Originally a wood shop and metal shop based on providing equipment and tools to make large projects, Ironwood changed its position to that of a workspace focused on providing a service to artists, crafters, and hobbyists. We are a makerspace built for the Monterey Bay community. So what is a makerspace? A makerspace are workshops that are used as dedicated spaces for those with shared interests to develop and work on creative projects. To give you a better understanding of what the Ironwood Makerspace looks like, let me introduce you to Anessa. A student at CSU Monterey Bay, Anessa was excited to attend a place where she could meet other students with similar interests and to develop her artistic talents. But then the pandemic happened and forced her to work entirely from home. Isolated and forced to be at home, right, frustrated, she is now stuck behind a computer screen without an adequate amount of space, the right tools, which are extremely expensive, or interaction to fully engage her creativity. So she hears about a new makerspace in Monterey. She decides to go and check it out. The first thing that hits Anessa as she walks into Ironwood is the atmosphere. It's warm, it's inviting, it's lively. Welcome to Ironwood. Anessa is immediately taken on a tour, and the first thing she goes through is the community workspace, simply known as the shop. She sees lots of people chatting and working on projects with Dremels humming, hammers tapping, and wire cutters snipping, just full of productivity. Then they check out and walk through the private studios and extra storage spaces. But when they move on to the design room, she isn't thrilled at the thought of seeing more computers, just like she did at home. But then she sees the demonstrations going on, and they're using all these cool machines like laser cutters and 3D printers. It's a new media and design software for her to work with and discover. And at the end of the day, she leaves Ironwood knowing that there's a place with the right tools and equipment, as well as the support of a growing creative community. Although this is Anessa's experience, these issues can be applied to a number of other people, such as stay-at-home moms that have been doing art projects with their kids all year long, professionals and semi-professionals who have had to downsize the workspace, or DIYers that love to interact with other like-minded individuals. And that is what makes us unique. With the large size of the art community, along with the need for social connection, Ironwood has the ability to offer a wider range of tools and opportunities to a larger group of people within the Monterey County.
So how do we make our presence known? We start off with heavy community outreach campaigns, offering free classes, free trials, open house events that will encourage the public to engage with this space. And we'll follow up that initial engagement with email marketing and social media campaigns that highlight and promote our members and their projects. We're also looking to network and partner with other local organizations. We've already been approached by a co-working space in the area that wants to work with us. We want to work with the CSUMB Art Department, the Monterey Bay Arts Council, and the Small Business Development Center. And because our business model is based on membership retention, these events will allow us to emphasize our multiple revenue streams and really show the community what we're offering while they're engaging with the space, which means by the time they leave these events, they'll know exactly what they're getting for their membership, what our private studio's like, and all the exciting classes we have coming up. But beyond our initial offerings, we're looking to increase them by, number one, purchasing new equipment and making renovations. Much of the equipment and software programs obtained early on in the startup will be through donations, or they'll be pretty basic equipment. But to attract and retain members, we'll need to update our equipment or increase our inventory. So any profits we make in the first 2 to 3 years will be reinvested in equipment and renovations of the space. But by year 5, we'd like to expand our offerings to include more community outreach programs, one being a children's program. While we initially would like to offer this space as a potential for field trip experiences, we'd eventually like to create a space and a program specifically for children, starting with middle school to high school age, and then working our way down to a younger audience. Another program we'd like to offer is a vocational program where we can create a structured certification program allowing for the use of our advanced equipment and providing real world experience all at the same time. So that begs the question, how much is all of this going to cost? We're estimating that our startup costs, including our overhead, equipment, and renovations, to equal $380,000 in the first year, with $242,000 in revenue for the first year. The second question is then, how are we going to afford all these amazing offerings? Number one force of seed money, winnings from the startup. Every single penny is going to getting this thing going. But our first major round of financing, we're looking into a Kickstarter campaign. The strategy being that we create community interest before we even begin construction on the site or renovations. Another one is donations. Because we're filing as a B Corp, we can offer more tax incentives for donations. We already have secured a donation of an $8,000 shredder that processes multiple forms of media from paper to plastic. We're looking into grant funding for some of our outreach programs. Angel investors that are particularly interested in developing the art and small business communities in Monterey, and of course, small business loans.
2-minute warning.
Is that time?
2-minute warning.
Okay. But really, what really encourages our optimism and passion for this business is the Monterey art community itself. Because we already have these amazing beaches and historic buildings and farmlands, Monterey County has a long-standing history for inspiring local artists. And at Ironwood, we want to be the place that really inspires and grows that community. So thank you for your time and attention, and we are ready for any of your questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Ironwood Makerspace.
Yeah, thank you. This is Dave. That was good. Thank you very much. Just a couple of questions. What's your kind of projection of what a membership cost is? And just briefly, I saw 200 members in the first year, 242K. I know there's more to it than that relative to private studio, et cetera, but that sort of says $1,000 for a membership. Is that, what are you thinking about for the pricing?
No, so the 242,000 actually did include our other revenue streams. Looking at other maker spaces, like in Costa Mesa, Sacramento, that type of thing, they kept their membership fees around $125 per month.
Per month, okay,
Yes.
okay. And then what's a private studio, just again, what you're kind of thinking?
We're thinking about $500 per month, but we do have other options for weekly and daily daily private studio use also.
The only other question I had was, you talked about sort of the pandemic causing some of the, you know, whether it's resource pain, isolation, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So, you know, at some point that goes away. So is this just viewed as sort of a catalyst for what you're doing to kind of get you into this? And, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, that's something that hopefully fades away. That isn't a major driver. Maybe it's an initial driver. Just kind of
Yeah,
curious.
it for sure is maybe an initial catalyst into bringing people into the space, but we hope to really substantiate our presence in the Monterey County after that. So I don't think it's something that's prolonged for our business to have people always be isolated. That's not something we want to like put out there. We want to build this community. So definitely a catalyst more than anything.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I have a few questions. First of all, tell me about the competition in the area, in the Monterey area for maker spaces. of
Okay,
this
so
nature.
yeah, right now there's actually not a makerspace specifically like a workshop kind of makerspace, but there are places like Hello
Board and
Desk.
brush.
Yeah, board and brush.
Yeah.
It's a board and brush is a type of like just specifically like an art painting kind of place. And then there's like workspaces, like what Bridget can tell you about that.
Well, a lot of the workspaces are really meant for more office space, not really creative art spaces or workspaces. So our competition is mostly going to come from like private paint parties that people are holding as far as hobbyists are concerned. Um, Private art studios that are pretty small. It's hard to find any substantial space in Monterey. And I think our biggest competition is the board and brush that just opened up on Alvarado Street. But like Derek said, they specify in kits. They're not meant for necessarily long-term projects. It's you come in, you do a project, and then you get out.
Okay.
So the next thing might be hobby stores. You know, if people do have created their own space in their homes, then we have to encourage them to get out and come to our space instead.
Okay, the other part is I wasn't quite sure. I just need to get some confirmation from you. Do you currently have an existing space that is partially operational? Can you help me with that?
We don't have an existing space. A lot of the numbers we've been using to project our overhead have been based on spaces like 4,000 to 6,000 square foot spaces located like in the Ryan Ranch area or the Garden Road area, more on the outskirts of Monterey.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hi, this is Chris Bly here, and I had a couple questions. I might have missed it. Did you say your business organization was a nonprofit, or was that a C Corp?
A B Corp.
A C Corp,
Yeah.
Is that correct?
B is in Bridget.
Okay, yeah, because I was just thinking if it was a nonprofit, you could actually, you know, when people donate, let's say tools and things, you could give those people that are making those donations a tax write-off. And I was thinking that could be, you know, one positive way to get some tooling for your to provide to your members?
Yeah, so we mentioned that, and so along with the B Corp, because the the B Corp is kind of like a hybrid kind of thing. Yeah, it has some of the benefits of the nonprofit, and we mentioned the tax write-off. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Because I even know a lot of people that have tools that they just have sitting in their garage, and if you could really optimize those to make those more available to the community, that could be a very valuable service.
Yeah, so we actually, when we were looking up some of the other maker spaces around California, a lot of them have donation-based equipment, like you're saying, where people have come in and donated actual machines, such as like lathes and other machines of that nature.
Yeah, great. Because I think that could be a very positive thing for your content. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Samantha Booth, and I'm happy to present Rainberry. So, chapped lips, also known as dry, cracking, or peeling lips, are very painful and are a big problem. Almost everyone has experienced chapped lips at some time in their life, and it can be the effect of dry or cold weather, allergies, sun exposure, and more. It's painful. Additionally, from an aesthetic standpoint, it's not ideal to have cracking or bleeding skin. Here's how Rainberry can help. Rainberry makes quality handmade lip scrubs. What is a lip scrub, you may ask? Well, lip scrubs are gentle sugar lip exfoliators that you rub gently on your lips and you can lick right off. These lip scrubs can be applied up to once a day for a routine lip care regimen and to avoid chapped lips. Special ingredients like coconut oil and vitamin E moisturize, regenerate, and soften the skin. What makes Rainberry special? Well, Rainberry creates lip scrubs that are not only natural but are edible, cause-based, and eco-friendly. To elaborate, I have created a recycling policy to be put in place upon launch, and this policy being that a customer can return a used-up jar up to 2 times, where we will then sanitize it and send it back refilled at half the cost to the customer. Not only does the lip scrub make your lips nice and soft, 25% of the profit goes to charity. These charities include the local Monterey Ocean Wildlife Studies, Funding for the Arts, and Teen Mental Health. Here's a quick ingredient comparison. Rainberry uses simple, natural ingredients that have real benefits, like coconut oil, cane sugar, and vitamin E. Other brands use deoxyribonucleic, a synthetic ingredient, or polymethylsiloxane, a synthetic silicone polymer. The last ingredient listed at the bottom is sodium metabisulfate, an inorganic chemical compound used as a preservative. While these described ingredients are considered safe for use in cosmetics, they are not considered natural. Here is my business model. I will sell my 15-gram lip scrubs for $5. This would give me a profit margin of 81% before applying the donation. This price is substantially less expensive than the other brands, but avoids being cheap. Rainberry will be operated through online sales, starting small and growing to statewide, countrywide, and maybe someday international. The cost of production for one single lip scrub is 95 cents, plus the cost of my own salary, and the donation is just over 75 cents per jar. I would then make $2.29 as profit. My market demographic is more geared towards young people, ages 8 to 16 years, with a middle income. Of course, I would love for all ages to enjoy my product. However, I find that the packaging and the cute little icons would appeal more to the younger market. Speaking of market, we introduced the lip care sector. There's already a big market for lip products with an estimated rise in overall revenue due to increased awareness of self-care along with environmental factors like sunlight and pollution. A lot of people want quality lip products and are willing to spend up to $32 for a small amount. According to Grandview Research, the global market for lip care was valued at $712.8 million as of 2018, expected to increase at a CAGR or compound annual growth rate of 7.2%. The formula for that, if you like the math stuff, is that being the final value over the initial value to the exponent of 1 in time over time and years subtracted 1. This is the TAM model I made. TAM meaning the total addressable market. The outermost circle with about 174 million people is the total addressable market of people who buy lip care products in the United States. The centermost circle is the serviceable available market, which also spells my nickname, is the average number of teens who buy lip care products in the United States. And the innermost circle is the number of US teens I can realistically service someday at around 8.5 million people. So this is a chart I made graphing a few of my competitors. Based on the price range, you can see and how natural the ingredients are. Rainberry, as you can see, is one of the top performers, being natural and inexpensive in comparison to Dior, Fenty Beauty, Tarte, Lush, and Burt's Bees. Here's my growth projection. This is starting in Q2 of 2021 and growing until Q4 of 2024. Here is my timeline of growth, the numbers being the years starting with 2020. I'm currently working from the pre-seed stage to the seed stage and plan on rapid growth throughout the next few years. This is where you guys come in. To make this work, I would need $1,500. I would use that to cover the cost of production, selling, marketing, and promotion. To make more healthy scrubs for more happy lips. For more in-depth analysis of what I would do with the money, it costs just under $2 to make one scrub when including my salary. So I would take $750, to make 375 lip scrubs. I would then have $750 remaining, which I would use to set up a selling site, which is just under $30 a month. Apply for a Monterey County business license, which is $230. I pay for packaging, a fictitious name statement, and I can apply for small business insurance. So I plan for Rainberry to keep growing over the years. However, so am I. My mom would be crying right now. But yes, I am growing and I need to go off to college. So in the meantime, I may intend on selling Rainberry to a local business or organization I trust. So there I am. That's me, Samantha Booth. Although I'm working as the CEO of this company, I am not without help. Deborah Lindsay, the VP of Sales at Cellhound, Max Feldman, the business teacher at MPC, and Marcia Perry, the owner of the Youth Arts Collective, have all been advising me and being a great team. I'm Samantha Booth of Rainberry Beauty, and I thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Samantha. That was very, very good.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks. This is Dave Cote. Samantha, question for you. On your financial projections, you show sort of each quarter growth in lip scrubs, that it falls back and grows again and falls back and why that pattern?
Because in the fourth quarter of the year is around like the holidays, so people buy a lot of products to like give as gifts, and then in the next quarter, it's the beginning of the new year, and people have already spent so much money on gifts that they don't spend as much in that quarter of the year.
Okay, so that I get that logic, and it's true of a lot of places. Is that true of this market, or that's just your assumption in terms of how your sales would go?
It's true for this market because lip scrubs are often used as like stocking stuffers.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, that was going to be, I think, Chris coming in, but Samantha, thank you very much for your presentation. And I guess when you were looking at your market projections of the 8 dot whatever million, did they include both genders?
Yes.
I wasn't quite sure. Okay, so are men likely to use this product as well as women, or do you think it's mostly just women?
I think it's more so women, but also kind of like with my generation, we've been, including more people and more groups in like all different sorts of things. So I think more guys would be willing to try out these lip scrubs and other things like that, and lip care and um, grooming and like those sort of things have been increasing. The market's been growing. Men's like deodorant and self-care products have been in a growing trend. So I think it would apply to both, but more so to women.
So would you just change your packaging maybe to appeal to men mostly, or I mean, or would you just keep your packaging pretty much the same to appeal to both?
I think I would keep the packaging the same, um, just to
Okay.
kind of appeal to everybody, hopefully, but more so
Okay.
women.
Okay. And then how about flavors? Are you going to have different flavors?
Yes, absolutely. I currently have 3 flavors, but I'm thinking of kind of doing like the Jelly Belly tactic where I have a whole bunch of different flavors. I know that in some cases, too many flavors could be confusing for the consumer. But I'm thinking of having them, since they would be priced well, the person could buy as many as they'd like. So I have strawberry, tutti frutti, and cotton candy right now.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm hoping to invest in more and kind of make my own.
Okay. So if let me just ask from a business risk standpoint, have you assessed the risk for this business? Because a lot of times beauty products, especially, they're non-invasive. However, they could, cause allergies or be accused of causing allergies or something not so nice. So have you looked into insurance? I heard you say the word insurance, but are you looking into, insurance that'll cover those types of risks as well?
Yes, absolutely. I was looking into a few different insurances. Um, the names escape me, but also like the LLC kind of corporation where I could um, like take care of the business matters on a separate like account almost. Um, like it's a little hard for me to describe. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Go
Uh,
ahead. The best you can, but you've looked into it is the point, right?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. And then as far as the charity components go, why did you bother to make it contributory to certain charities? And
Oh,
why
sorry.
certain ones than other ones? Can you give me some idea about that part of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I firstly, it's just things that I really care about. I want to start a business and I want to help people. Um, like if somebody falls in the street, I'm always like, oh my gosh, I gotta go help them. So I always want to help people, and animals and the world and the planet. Oh, I guess that's the same thing. um, but I also I chose those charities because I'm planning to start local. That
Uh-huh.
way, like I plan on I sent correspondence to the Monterey Bay Aquarium because I think they might be struggling a little bit during the coronavirus. And I have started like a correspondence of interest with the Monterey Bay Wildlife Studies, Marine Wildlife Studies.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked those charities mostly because it's something that I care about a lot, and I tried to not grab, but I tried to select a few from each sort of cause. So I have an animals one, and then like a people one, which would be teen mental health, because this product would be marketed mostly towards teens, and it's about lip care and self care, and then I thought maybe mental health would be good to include. And then lastly, I want to do something for the arts because those are also, they help with mental health and like art therapy and all sorts of things. So I could go on and on.
That's all
But
right.
yeah,
Yeah, I got the idea.
okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Samantha. This is Chris Bly, and I have a question regarding testing and consumer feedback and how you went about gathering that information. Because I think it's pretty important if somebody's going to invest in a company that they really know that you sampled it on 100,000 people and this is their feedback to ensure that it's a product that's going to be valuable to those consumers. So if you could speak to that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, first I tested it on myself, and then I tested the I researched each ingredient and saw how long they last, and then I kind of made a batch, and then I packaged them, and then I waited a while to see when they would expire. And I'm working on getting a microscope so that I can see exactly like what time and day. And I think I definitely need to do some more testing. Um, I've I've asked like a few people to trial it. Only like 12. They all liked it, but I think I want to do a more controlled study. So I think you have a great point.
Yeah, because I just feel that anybody that's thinking about, investing money into that idea, they want to have some really, these are the different categories of people we tried it on, these were their ages, and this is their feedback regarding the product. So I think that's a really important step that you have to go through. So thank you.
Thank you.
So you guys know who I am. I'm Maria Castaneda Machado Sanchez, and I'm here for the Sweat Lodge. It's not going. Well, nonetheless, so my parents are Native. They're mixed, mixed race and such. And both my parents are from the Essala Nation, Ohlone. So in a lot of our teachings, we have sweat lodges, and for all intents and purposes, sweat lodges are intended to, you go in and it's for spiritual healing. You come out and you're a new person. So you go in and you relieve yourself of all of these negatives, all of these bad things, and you have these visions, and you come out and you start anew. So for our sweat lodge, we're bringing these veterans and their families in, whatever their ailments are, and by the time they come out, they'll be able to reintegrate themselves successfully back into the civilian society. Oh, now it wants to play. The idea originally comes from. So I'm not sure why these slides. So with all businesses, we have to have our code of ethics, and my code of ethics basically comes from Army values, all the Army values. I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran, and I feel that dealing with military personnel, military people, we need to bring that into what we're going to provide for them, because these are things that we're familiar with. We can easily identify them and relate to them, and we'll bring those into everything that we're doing. So all the guidelines, basically, we're going to, everything that we take into ourselves, we're going to apply that into our farming, into learning our skills, being able to go back out into the workforce, the civilian workforce and civilian society. And then this just goes more into the warrior ethos. We never leave anybody behind. The big thing with this is veteran suicide. On average, there's 22 veterans a day that commit suicide, because even though we're back here, we're still over there. So even when we lose each other here, we've really lost each other over there. And I feel, and a lot of other people feel, that everybody's all about us until we come back home, and then it's like, okay, what now? They prepare us for war, but they don't prepare us to come back. And in this whole environment, we're going to be able to just help each other out. We're all going to be equals. We're just going to work from the bottom, and we're going to, I plan on having different personnel for mental health, things of that nature, so we can properly identify exactly what's going on with these service members so they can help themselves, because if they can't help themselves, they're not going to be able to help their families and get back into society. So from my study since 2018, the legalization of hemp production has happened here in the United States. There are a lot of things that go into it when it comes to hemp, and then what it's going to be used for after the fact. I plan on using it, for everything it's worth, like I said. And so there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of federal guidelines still. If veterans are involved, there's going to be, how are we going to get that funding? I have some studies in here and some references to a 300 bed unit. The plot of land I was planning on getting, they weren't too happy with my plans, so it's okay, but I've circled this around that plot of land, and unfortunately, because of everything I'm trying to do, it's going to be a challenge to get any sort of federal funding. So I plan on bringing everything that we earn from the farm, from the ranch, and we use all of our own funding and have community events, and then that way we can bring the community in and give the community education on everything that we're doing, as well as education on how to deal with veterans. When you come across a veteran, how to conversate with them, or just general things, or you encounter a veteran. We're a different breed. So these are statistics for veteran suicide, and even one is too much. So I've personally myself, I've had suicide attempts, and it's from my combat PTSD. So this is something very near and dear to my heart, because I'm not the only one. I've lost soldiers to their own hands. Just last year, I lost 2 guys in less than 24 hours from the same team. So if I can get something, anything to help all these guys and their families out, it's a start. And if we start from within, in my personal opinion, it's like a puddle. It'll just ripple out. And my big hope is for just everybody, regardless of who you are, we're all equals and we're all people, and we all need to be kind with each other and patient, and help each other through. And just general suicide rates among adults in the United States as a whole, not just veterans. So that's where the community comes into it, because it's not just us, it's a community. We need to work together as a community to help one another, to help each other. More statistics. And then, just the opportunities for hemp farming. We can produce our own CBD products. CBDs are non-euphoric. They're more for pain relief. So we can just the possibilities of the uses of this plant that Mother Nature has provided us are it's just amazing. And I just I want to give back to her and thank her for everything that she's given us. And with all of this global warming, even if it doesn't help us today or in our lifetime, at least for the next people, it's a start. If we start somewhere, hopefully it'll catch on and it'll just ripple out. threats that we face. I mentioned earlier, federal and state recognitions and such. And then, some climates. And then these are just some numbers that I got because unfortunately we don't have enough. At the time when I was doing this, we don't have enough studies and not studies. We don't have enough studies to say, oh, we've got this many in the United States. Off these hemp farms, we've gotten this. But it includes, seeds, the production of seeds. We sell seeds, use our own seeds. The stalks, you can use the stalks for paper and such, and just the flowers. And then based on the plot of land that I was trying to get, it was going to be 300 beds. That was the ultimate goal, 300 beds to include family members. So the VA has a lot of funding and grants for veteran treatment centers and veteran treatment facilities. However, because of the type of facility that I'm trying to run, it's going to be extremely hard.
1 minute warning.
Say again? International. I'm sorry?
1 minute warning.
Oh, 1 minute warning, excuse me. Okay, thank you. And then just some more, not fast facts now, I got a few seconds, but just programs, tax credit programs and such things that would be very helpful in getting us ran and getting us going, and just to ensure that we got everything we got. So, the ultimate plan is all organic community, veteran transitional farming, veteran treatment facility and education. Have, one day have a fuel mart with barbecue, farm to table, community events, and use the product for everything that it's worth, or use the plant for everything that it's worth. And then that was the unfortunately the land that I was unable to secure. And then just some more facts, some more things I'd like to offer.
Great. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that was it. And then my references, and then just a little nice plant to show what we can use it for. My time. I don't want to keep talking and go over.
Okay. All right. So just a moment, we'll have, if our judges have some questions for you.
Yeah, this is Dave, Maria. Obviously,
Fine. I'm so sorry.
a very challenging but important issue that you're trying to deal with here. So thank you for that. When you talk about the hemp farm, I mean, do you have? I'm assuming you don't have tons of experience in hemp farming. How would you bring in that expertise? Obviously, you're bringing veterans in who would learn from that, but where is that capability coming from?
So we're allowed to have our own 6 plants. So I've started myself, so I can. I've actually started taking some notes. Our last big storm, I wanted my plants to get all of that air that was coming in, because they grow in different environments. So just off my own studies, and then eventually seek out the help of farmers. Hey, can you help me out? This is what I'm trying to do. What do you suggest? What do you think I can do? Or possibly, hey, would you like to get on board and help me out?
Okay. You talked about piece of property you were interested in that you couldn't secure that. Sounded like some of that had to do with kind of community issues with the fact that you were trying to put essentially a rehab facility in. How were you going? Did you have it financed? Were you able to secure funding for it if you had been able to do that?
To use my own VA home loan, and I was going to start it off. It was a 54-acre plot of land, and it had a little fuel mart in the front. It had a chapel, so I had big plans for this place. And I was going to use my own money, my own VA home loan, and just go from there. So that's how I was going to do it. I was just going to start it all on my own and try to seek help from there.
So are you currently looking at other potential property locations? Is that kind of a first?
Always looking. I'm always dreaming.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria, this is Mary Lou. I guess as far as the farming goes, do you have partners, other veterans that want to work with you on this project?
Well, I have a friend in Nevada, and he said, you know what, I was speaking with him yesterday. He said, I have a friend over here, and he's been talking about doing something of the same sort. And every veteran that I get a chance, like, oh, hey, what are you doing? And I'm, why are you going to school? Oh, this is what I'm doing. And they're like, wow, that's really cool. But nobody's really like, oh, what about this? Or, oh, what about that? So it's like, I have to find other veterans. Like I have veteran friends out of state, like, from previous units. And they're like, man, let me know when you get this hemp farm up and started, and I'll help you come farm it. I'll help you come get it going. I'm like, hey, that's great. So it's not like, wow, a big group of us. There's, just a few of us.
I see. So your target is to try to find land in the Monterey County area. Is that the idea, that can be used for this type of farming, and also can also be ability to really put in a facility really for veterans? Is that the idea?
That, for me, that would be so amazing, because my family is here, and we're here. My now late mother, she recently passed away. We're gonna scatter her ashes here at Lovers Point. So I want to be here. I want to be with my family. But because I was trying to do this on my own, I had to figure out what's gonna be within my budget. I gotta act my wage. So it's really hard. And when I'm trying to do something of this volume, it's hard to be here, because realistically, I'm for $375,000, I'm not gonna get a shack on the east side. It's it's hard. So, but I would love to be here. This is where I want to be. This is this is my home. I grew up in Seaside, so this is where we're at.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That's yeah.
Great. Kayla, how are we doing on time?
Time is up for Q&A. So
Great. Well, thank you very much, Maria, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
much. I really appreciate your time.
All right. Take care and join us for the otter tank later today around 2 o'clock. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.